Well, people have been coming up to ask us during the half-time interval who was the last England player to score a hat-trick in World Cup finals. Well, the last speaker you were listening to, Bobby Charlton, would have been very quick with the answer to that. It was, of course, Geoff Hurst in the final of 1966, and it's the only previous hat-trick in a World Cup finals. He scoring his in the final itself. And England already in 1986 to get the second half underway. And their opponents must have been very relieved at half-time, the Poles, to hear the score in the other match in Guadalajara. Mr. Dana delaying things a little bit. For the final check of his watches. Here we go again. Gary Stevens, Terry Fenwick, and they're going to get the ball to the skipper, Peter Shilton, who I should tell you has an unbeaten record as captain of England. 1-4 drawn 4 before today. Hoddle. Beardsley. The judge to have lifted his foot too high, but starting the second half in the same effervescent style as he played throughout the first. Karas. Boniek in a front line of 2, and Smolarek out to the left was the intended recipient of that ball. For Peter Shilton, of course, this victory, if such it proves to be, will be particularly sweet, because he played in that World Cup qualifier in 1973 when England needed to win and could only draw, and was blamed by many people for the goal that Poland scored. And the substitute for Poland here in the second half is Bunsol, wearing number 15, Andrzej Bunsol. He started the tournament and then was left out after the opening match. Ostrovsky. Smolarek riding one challenge and another from Stephen and then Stevens. Peter Shilton coming for the cross. Peter Reid, Terry Butcher. Reid. Hodge. In the middle of the sandwich. Foul by Karas. And looking around the Polish team, the man that they've taken off is Waldemir Matisik, the number 6. Peter Shilton, after that match in 73, lost his place at the end of that season and then played just 14 times out of 70 matches over the next 7 seasons. And yet tonight wins his 84th cap. What might the total have been but for that night of disaster? Certain Ray Clements and one or two others had more than a little bit to say and a lot to offer for England during that period. Like a foul by Majewski, but it wasn't called. Smolarek. Tchaikovsky. Poles looking intent on being rather more aggressive, with their minds rather more on attack. There's Pawlak. Wojcicki. danger for Terry Butcher. Lovely way to pass, just where Kenny Sansom wanted it. Huddle. Lineker pulls away to the right, to the left rather, in the inside left position. Bunsol. Hard luck having to come back. No real challenge. It's going to go all the way to Peter Shilton. 5 minutes of the second half gone. And England slowing the pace and dictating the terms. Beardsley chasing everything. Wojcicki to Ostrowski. That was the sort of pass that Bobby Robson's team were playing against Morocco, but not this evening. Reed. Hodge. Pavlak, and you may just hear the comments of Peter Reed complaining. I hope we didn't hear them too clearly, actually, complaining about the quality of the pass. And that's another contribution he makes to running the side in midfield. He doesn't let people get away with things. Ostrowski. Smolarek. He's a good player, this fellow. Urban, Boniek and Smolarek. Oh, hit the post. Lovely strike by Zbigniew Boniek. And it came from the run of Smolarek. He can look almost ponderous, but then he suddenly goes past you as though you're not there.
And Peter Shilton will tell you that he had it covered, and he may be right.
Good play, back again to Sanson. It's a little bit too long, though. And the Arsenal man obviously disappointed. And as he went up, Peter Beardsley took the place at left back. Ostrowski. Smolarek on the touchline. They're looking to him to turn it on. It's going to come to Karas. Bunsol forward, Boniek in possession. Karas. Confident stop by Butcher. Reed. Only Lineker forward. Hodge now on the left. Beardsley just inside him. Hodge goes for the return. Boniek. Free kick against Terry Fenwick. Referee has his hand in his pocket, and if he produces, as he does, the yellow card, it means that England will have to make a change for the next match, because that's the second yellow card that Terry Fenwick has had in this tournament.
And that'll mean that Tottenham's Gary Stevens, or maybe Alvin Martin, sitting on the line there, might well think, is our hour arriving?
Ostrowski. England back in numbers, only Lineker forward. And they're feeding Smolarek a lot. Ostrowski. Bunsol makes the diagonal run. And he's added a bit since he came on. He's a neat little player. It was surprising that he was dropped after the opening game against Morocco. Lineker unlucky. If that ball had been able to travel and not hit his heel, it would have gone just where he needed it. Here's Boniek. Difference in length of stride, but Butcher was matching the pace.
It is an opportunity for all those substitutes maybe to play a part in England's future matches. If England had failed today, some of them would have gone home without being able to taste blood of any kind and show what they can do. So there's hope for them, and our wish is that they'll be needed in many matches to come, all the way to the final. Dixon's not had a run. Barnes. Chelsea supporters and Watford supporters will be anxiously hoping to get a glimpse of their heroes in England shirts in this competition.
Wojcicki. Karas. Pavlak. Bunsol in the inside right position. Czekanowski down the middle. Boniek behind the play, but in possession. Urban. Smolarek. And Huddle didn't make the challenge that he should have made, but Gary Stevens back to cover. Huddle went in for that challenge, but I suspect he took his eye off the ball because he didn't make contact with it. So Polish corner. Smolarek to take. And Peter Shilton, unaware that there wasn't a challenge behind him, put it out of harm's way. Czekanowski, Wojcicki, Urban and Bunsol waiting in the middle. And Smolarek. Out by Hoddle. Sort of thing we're used to. England reasonably enough are not going to bust a gut in this second half with a 3-0 advantage, but the skipper would like them to be a little more lively. He's a hard taskmaster. Gary Stevens not only won the ball in the air, but directed it where he wanted it to go. Lineker. A few bruises on the back of his legs from the contact made there by Majewski. I think one or two of our elder viewers might say, well, he's asking for trouble playing with his socks around his ankles. Trevor Steven couldn't get around Ostrovsky. Smolarek. No way through there, surely. England ball.
Glenn Hoddle showing willingness in the tackle, but I don't think I've actually seen him get his foot to the ball yet. There was another miss there. He does go in, he does his best, but obviously his living depends on other attributes than the strength of his tackling or the accuracy of it.
And I know, Jim, that Steve Perryman at Tottenham always used to say all we require of Glenn Hoddle is that he gets himself goal side. That at least holds things up for us. And it has been significant that the management here, although we haven't seen that much of it until this evening, have begun to talk about what Hoddle can do and what he can't do, which so many people seem to have talked about for so many months. Bunsol, it's a question of where you fit him into the balance of things. This is Smolarek. Oh, Czekanowski, fortunately for England, made a bit of a mess of that. Lineker offside. He's got a pretty lonely patrol now, Gary Lineker. Sun still shining very brightly. Just a little bit of a shadow on the near side from the main stand here at the Estadio Universitario. Ostrovsky. Boniek square. Smolarek. Height and distance on the header. Challenge from Beardsley. Huddle. Trevor Stephen. Beardsley was challenged after the ball and flattened, but he got up with a smile. Vujicic. Witze out to Pavlak. Boniek. Bunsol looking for it. Shilton there first. An hour of the match. And an hour which has totally changed the complexion of the English challenge in this World Cup. 3-0 they lead. Steve Hodge. Reed. Butcher. Fennick. And the Mexicans in the crowd giving a few oles, which is what they like to do when the ball is passed around. And the opponent not allowed to intercept. Pavlak for Poland. Boniek. Wandering a lot, but in the main across the middle line. And the two matches which I've seen Poland, I think that we've only really seen Boniek in the danger zone on 2 occasions. Once in this game when he hit the post. Ostrovsky. Free kick against Huddle. Pavlak. Sansom comes to meet him. Boniek. But England just content to cover across the middle of their half and, if needs be, across the back. Boniek to the right. Bunsol on the edge of the area. The right as we look. 2 against 2 in the middle. Stevens there. Sansom. Reed calling for it, or should I say demanding it, but he gives it away. Boniek. Will he take them on? Yes, he does this time. But he's blocked at the end. But that's what he can produce. One wonders why he doesn't try it more often, and one is grateful that he doesn't. Bunsol. Canas. Blocked by Hodge. Huddle. Poland probably having their best spell of the match. Urban. And Morocco have caught up England in a question of goals. They lead Portugal 3-0, so there surely can be no question that they are going to finish in first place. England leading Poland 3-0 will finish in second, and Poland will probably qualify in third place.
Isn't that a wonderful boost for African football, really? I've seen both their matches, the Moroccan team, and they've played with a lot of style and elegance, and they were rather like the Continentals, who many years ago could do everything except score goals, and I didn't expect them really to score today. But obviously they've picked up the confidence to realise that whoever you're playing, you have the right to hit the back of the net if you get the opportunity. Well done the Moroccans, and well done England. I don't expect this match to be scintillating. I have to say that for the remainder of this time. I don't want to send anybody off to bed, because if you're enjoying this rare moment as much as we are here, you're certainly having some fun. And pride in England's performance, really, from the depths of despair to coming out and producing a performance, really, that sets everybody in buoyant mood again, thinking of what might be.
Beardsley. Winocek has been something of a spectator in this half. Stevens, not quite what he intended, but no danger. Peter Shilton pushing everybody forward. England ball. Down in front of the England bench, and a little water thrown there to Gary Stevens, and a little pocket thing in plastic. I think he hasn't used it yet. It's thrown by Don Howe. Ostrovsky. Fenwick's challenge. The referee has not given a free kick, which Poniek thought he should have, and Fenwick was slightly concerned that he had. Majewski. Quite a celebration going on around the ground. One or two England supporters are doing the conga. And around they go. And it's lovely stuff. It's not being appreciated by everybody. I think it's because one or two of the officials are trying to stop the conga going around the ground, but it's harmless enough. They're enjoying the party, in which England have popped 3 champagne corks, 3 goals. Bunsel trying to get Pavlak round his man. Goal kick. Disappointed man from Lech Poznan. Got into the side against Portugal after not being selected against Morocco. Wojcicki, here's Lineker, just trying to let the ball come down. And it just wouldn't quite come down enough. But he certainly was reading the bounce better than either defender. Took on 2 of them and ran out of room. And we are halfway through the second half of England's last match in Group F. And from the industrial north of Monterrey, we should be making our way up to the capital. Here is Lineker, 4 waiting for the cross, Peter Reid. But I'm not sure whether he was making a genuine attempt to get that ball or whether that was a dummy worthy of Pele.
I think he decided that discretion was the better part of valour there with a 3-goal lead. I think if it had been 0-0, he'd have put his foot in and tried to put the goalkeeper and the ball in the net. But as it was, a dummy sufficed. I'd like to see a couple of substitutions now for 2 reasons. One, I'd like to see John Barnes come on up front instead of Lineker. He's just showing a few signs, despite the breakaways of problems. Here they go again.
Stephen, beaten by Ostrovsky.
Yeah. Don't want to mislead you at home there. Of course, in this match, Barnes is not there, and we were talking today about the possibility of him being one of the front strikers. He won't be able to get his run, but Gary Stevens, of course, as Spurs, at this time, it might be an idea to pop him in Fenwick's position, just to give him a feel of it, if he's going to be the man in the next match, alongside Terry Butcher, because it would be a sort of strange partnership, and even 20 minutes alongside each other when you're on top might well help him to settle. But it's so easy, of course, to make those kind of suggestions from here. When you're sitting lower down, as Alf Ramsey finds some years ago, it's not all that easy. And here's Lineker again.
I'll tell you what, Jimmy, any substitute tonight will be a downside easier than it would have been if the score was still 0-0. This is Gary Stevens. Trevor Stephen. Peter Beardsley. What a good tackle back by Beardsley. Reed. Waddle to his left. Hodge further over. Different players going into attacking positions. This time it's Kenny Sampson given offside. That's what we found was so impressive from watching the Germans, particularly in their first match, how they varied which player made the run forward. And after he'd done so, that player usually had a little bit of a rest at the back. Now, England have varied it very much more tonight. But then the basic story of the game is that tonight we've watched the team. Beardsley, strong in the challenge again. Trevor Stephen. We've had 25 minutes of the second half. 20 minutes remaining. Pavlak. Lineker. Hoddle. Beardsley. Now it's Gary Stevens, the other fullback, who makes the run. He checked back when he didn't really need to. But very quick to get goal side. Beardsley's gone to mark the goalkeeper. He was only half a yard away. Smolarek, with shoulders hunched, is a lonely figure down the middle for Poland again. And the famous Liverpool anthem is ringing round the Estadio Universitario in Monterrey. Ostrovsky. Butcher seemed to be slightly in two minds, but maybe made the right decision. Let Oban get the ball down before making his challenge.
In our excitement at the goals that we've created today, it should be mentioned that Terry Butcher, on more than one occasion, has just put his foot in and saved extremely dangerous situations, and that was yet another of them. A fine game he's had in that position.
Well, England clearly thinking of a substitution. Bobby Robson in conversation with Chris Waddle. Glenn Hoddle. Trevor Stephen. There's a little bit of a gap down the middle. He was finding the ball had to be dragged from slightly behind him. Beardsley. Pass to Trevor Stephen was a little bit too crisp. Karas. Sanson has to watch it and watches it go harmlessly by as Bunsol came in. Well, it's nice to see the flag of St George, and what an enormous one too. It's always struck me that we don't see enough of the flag of St George. So often it's the Union Jack which is used. Don't see too many Scots going around with the Union Jack, do you? Ostrovsky. I think the substitution is pretty imminent. Boniek. Czekanowski. Urban. Smolarek is in the middle. Urban, nice swivel of the hips. 5 came to him. Suddenly found himself in a cul-de-sac, surrounded by 5 players who intended to do him no good at all. Offside, Lineker.
I would think it will be when Waddle comes on that if we played up front somewhere, I think in a different role from the one he's been employed before. I hope it's not giving Emlyn apoplexy in the studio, but maybe his performance in this different role will provoke some praise instead of criticism. Chris Waddle for Beardsley, the man who, for me, had the fire up front, which sparked the hat-trick for Lineker.
And Waddle's first job is that of the water carrier. And he hasn't found all his men yet. That's some sort of new competition. Boniek. And the bag's delivered. Waddle can now concentrate on playing some football. Challenge on Smolarek. Good play. Must pay due credit to Włodzimierz Smolarek. He's really had a fine game and done his level best to lift a side that from the early stage knew they were in trouble. England's 3 goals coming in the 8th, the 15th and the 35th minutes. All of them to Gary Lineker, but all of them the result of teamwork. Reed sets Kenny Sanson away. Lineker is in the middle, and Majewski just got a little bit of that. Stevens. Waddle. Butcher, good cover by Kenny Sanson. Fennick, who has not let what must be disappointment that he won't play in the next match affect his game here. Sanson. Waddle. Waddle runs out to the right. Further back is Gary Stevens. Wasn't the best of passes from Trevor Stephen. Somewhat around his ankles. Czekanowski. Free kick against Hodge for holding on to Karas. Ostrovsky, Smolarek, Trevor Stephen the first to take on, Gary Stevens behind. That's a good cross and is very well claimed. Butcher. Reed. Good break by Reed. This is Steve Hodge. Trying to take on Bunsol. Go kick. Stefan Majewski. Plays his football in Germany with Kaiserslautern. Smolarek. I would have thought one or two clubs in the West would look at. At the age of 28, he'd probably be allowed to depart from his home country. Czekanowski, the Polish Footballer of the Year. Bunsol. 4 waiting. And Trevor Steven puts it out for the corner, though not quite as he had hoped. And there's a complaint from Terry Butcher to his colleague, having found a standard again. The England players not wanting to drop below it. Boniek. Wojcicki, and easily pulled down by Glenn Hoddle. And we are 10 minutes away from the final whistle. And the second half has been just about entirely comfortable for the England team.
And in fact, it's most noticeable at this stage how well the England, the 2 rows of 4, are keeping together as a unit. And that's due to Peter Reid's marshalling, I'm sure. He was talking about that this morning. When you lose it, get that 8 behind the ball and make yourselves difficult to penetrate. And they've done that. Hard work in the heat, no question about it. But Glenn Hoddle as well, not renowned for his running, has kept his position. And they've not made it easy for the Poles to counter-attack and get in the game in any kind of way once they took that first grip on it. And it's been done, really, by a bit of brilliance to start with, but backed up by an awful lot of hard work and graft throughout the team.
Hoddle, Kenny Sanson starts to go forward on the left. Reid in possession. Come to me, he says, don't run so hard. Hodge. Hoddle. Wojcicki needed to win that. Hoddle again. Waddle. I'm not sure that he was offside, but Kenny Sanson on the far side was. One of those difficult ones, because I think you would lay a pound to a pinch of salt that Waddle was going to have a strike at goal then, and therefore the position of Kenny Sanson was irrelevant. Portugal have got into the act. They've scored in Guadalajara against Morocco, but it's not changing things. England still comfortably holding their 3-0 lead in Monterrey. Here's Boniek. The breeze increasing, but it's only around the terraces and the stands. I think they'll be fitting too much of it on the pitch, although the flag, the centre flag, is showing it's receiving some. Sansom. Caras. Flag stays down. That must have been a tight decision. Hoddle.
You can see there the number of men that England have got back, not letting that lead slip once they've achieved it. And it's not creating the maximum excitement, but I must say it's quite delightful, really, after some of the England performances that we have been unfortunate enough to cover recently.
Boniek. Smolarek. Boniek, Stephen there first. Lineker still on patrol forward. Going to go fairly wide to get it. And Waddle is onside. Needs help from behind. Here's Trevor Stephen. Nobody coming in from the far.
Reminding us there that
Terry Dixon will be the second England substitute. It'll be his first taste of the finals. Smolarek for Poland. Boniek cleanly away from Gary Stevens. Karas still, Bunsol. And a corner. And it was Boniek who did the spin turn of an amusement arcade without making any contact with the ball. Into the last 5 minutes. 3-0 to England. Another substitute to arrive. And off goes the scorer of a hat-trick, Gary Lineker. He joins Geoff Hurst in the record books, and Terry Dixon comes on with precisely 4 minutes and 35 seconds to play according to the clock to our right. And away to our left, it's another moment of disappointment from Poland's most vaunted footballer, Boniek, winning his 76th cap tonight, scorer of 24 goals. He perhaps would claim he beat Peter Shilton once, but the ball came back off the post. So we're still playing 4-4-2, 4 at the back, 4 in midfield and 2 up front, but the 2 up front are rather different players now. Reed. Dixon is offside. And the whistle has gone.
At this stage of the game, I suppose we can be excused thinking that we shall be playing, England that is, will be playing Paraguay on next Wednesday. And before we fall into the trap, if those of you who saw perhaps them play Belgium as I did today will realise that they're by no means a walkover. They're extremely skillful and talented side in the South American fashion. And if they're behind Brazil and Argentina, they're not a long way behind. So that is a match that will take the same kind of performance today, at least, in order for England to progress farther in this competition. It will be the first time that the two countries have met.
Waddle looks up, and Waddle, oh dear, that really was, in my opinion, and gentleman to my left agrees with me, an awful decision by the linesman. When the pass was made, Chris Waddle was quite clearly onside.
That linesman is not going to enjoy the replay.
Jekanovski, Boniek, Pavlak, under 2.5 minutes left. Pavlak, off Fennick, Waddle. Smolarek seemed to me to have turned his man, but gets away with it. Takes them all on. And Peter Shilton wants them to keep their concentration, because he wants another clean sheet.
Well, the England supporters are jubilant, and so I think is everybody really at this ground. It's been a magnificent performance. You could say at 4 o'clock on the 11th of June 1986, English football found its soul again in Monterrey. The first match, at the end of that time, I said to the wives and girlfriends of the England players not to put the kettle on. Well, I'm afraid you'll have to keep it off for a little while longer, because you need your men. They found a job to do, or we need them here in Mexico. And by the looks of what we've seen today, they're quite capable of doing it. So a wonderful performance. So refreshing to be able to say that. Well done, England.
Karas for Poland as we move into the last minute of the match. Boniek save. And it was a lovely shot too. Look at that. It was going for the top. Czekanowski, and Butcher puts it over the top for another corner. And a reminder, should it be needed, from Peter Shilton to the defence, that they play to the end. It won't matter to the group if Poland manage a goal, but it will matter hugely to Peter Shilton. "12 seconds remaining. Out by Butcher. Boniek in possession, but the victory is England's. It's happened at last in Monterrey. Bobby Robson's team, with 3 goals scored by Gary Lineker, have found their self-respect. From adversity, he's found a side of real balance, and the journey back to Saltillo, up through the Sierra Madres, will be one of celebration. And England now can move to Mexico City, and their fans presumably will go along with them. They will now have to adjust from 1,500 feet to 7,500 feet. But as I said, the team has found its self-respect, and it can now show us what it can do.